Hello everyone and welcome. Do you like the idea of watching a movie about a cool, mysterious, badass hunter who has centuries of experience and that they've made multiple other movies about? Well, then you might want to go check out one of those other movies. I'm Mike, and this is Mike's After Action Reviews, and this is the Rapid Action Review for Predator Badlands. Alright guys, so as always with the Rapid Action Reviews, we are going to be skipping over some of the things that we usually cover in the After Action Reviews, and we are going to be going over the production, a short little explanation of the plot, and then right into our sustains, improves, and the final review score. So, Predator Badlands was released on November 7th, 2025 from 20th Century Studios. It was written by Patrick Asen and Dan Trachtenberg, who also directed the movie. The music was by Sarah Schatz. No. The music was by Sarah Schachner, Schachner. I have a hard last name as well, so I totally feel the pain, guys. And Benjamin Wallfish. The cast is, interestingly enough, there's only two cast members, basically. So we have Elle Fanning, who plays Tia, and we have Demetrius Schuster Schuster Kolo-Amatangi, who plays Deck. Now that is the main protagonist, the Predator, and then Thea is his traveling companion that you've seen in the promotional material. And those are the two that I can give you without spoiling anything. So then, just a real quick explanation of the plot. The story centers on a Yautja warrior, Deck, a young Predator outcast, derided as a runt and denied entry into his clan. To prove his worth, Deck undertakes a traditional rite of passage. He must travel to the deadly world Genna, where a legendary apex beast, the Kalisk, stalks prey. Deck's goal: hunt the Kalisk, bring back its skull as a trophy, and reclaim honor among his people. So that sounds pretty good in practice. Let's see how they actually did here. So moving right into our final statement of review score, starting with sustains. My first sustain is for the idea here, okay? The idea of what this whole thing is. Having us follow just a Predator has so much potential, and we're going to talk a little bit about how they fulfilled that potential. But it has so much potential, it actually is a really great idea. I'm going to tell you why I feel that way in just a minute here, so that's my first sustain. My second sustain is the Razor Disc. I really didn't like a whole lot of the other equipment used by this particular Predator. In each of these movies, they try to give each of the Predators something new or unique. Here it was the Razor Disc. This replaces the glaive. Basically, he presses a button, this little floating disc comes out, he can shoot it at people. It's pretty cool, and I really liked that. Okay, so that's it for sustains. Let's move on into improves. So, my first and the most obvious improve is the Predator's uncool look. I've had some people get upset with me about this because I feel like they're kind of shills for this movie. I don't really understand why me having an opinion on this is so offensive to people, especially when it's basically a mainstream thing as far as I can understand. But basically, the original Predator had a very cool design. Changing it into what we see in this movie was just not as cool, and I think it was a really bad idea. Also, the Predator's quills are sensory organs, not hair, so they would not be pulled into a ponytail like we see here. Just basically my big problem here is there is such a thing as the rule of cool. And no, first of all, they don't really explain why he looks like this in the movie. They kind of allude to him being deformed, which who wants to, like, that's not cool, okay? The idea of the Predator, having a human that's deformed doing a thing and kind of making that part of the character can be cool, but in the essence of what a Predator is, having a deformed Predator be your main protagonist just isn't great. You never see him wearing the mask, which kind of sucks too. We're going to get into some of the other stuff, but it just, no matter what substantiation that they had for this guy looking this way in universe, it wasn't cool, and it basically fits the rule of uncool. So, okay, my second improve is humanizing the Predator. Giving the Predator a personality and more human-like traits was, in my view, a huge mistake. It undermines the Predator as an alien, primal mystique, that has defined the Predator as a fearsome, inscrutable hunter in past installments. It's just, they did a really good job in the first and second Predator movie, and then I even liked in the AVP movies, making the Predator really, really this otherworldly being that is just like complete discipline and strength and even honor, but just like something that you would not be able to contend with, and I was really disappointed they changed that. So, okay, also, my next sustain is the fact that there are actually plot holes, which really sucks. For instance, the biggest one, without spoiling anything, for instance, though, is humans knowing Predator language doesn't really make sense given the prior lore of the Predator, and even if you were going to say, well, now it's been a longer period of time, so the lore is going to have evolved over time, and knowledge of Predators is going to have evolved, that's still a really bad mistake, because that choice undercuts the place that the Yautja have in the universe as a mysterious, technologically advanced alien race, and it feels really inconsistent, and again, it takes away the coolness and the mystery of the Predator, so that really sucks. My last improve here is that the Predator never really acts like a Predator. In this movie, he never really behaves like the classic Predators we've seen before. There's a lack of that cold, animalistic hunting. The Predator literally stalks one animal for about a minute of screen time. We never see him like in the first Alien versus Predator movie, we saw where the Predator lowered down like a noose, like a wire noose, and when the human went through it, he brought it up and cut his head off, and in the AVP2 we saw him skinning people alive. We saw all of that having happened in the original Predator movies. You just don't see any of that. You don't see him stalking humans while invisible, or stalking humans with the mask, and we just don't see him being anything like the classic Predators. Yes, okay, so those are the sustains. Let's move into the final review score here. So personally, I wish the movie leaned more into what the AVP films did. Follow the Predators without giving them human speech or overtly humanizing them, but instead, basically what those movies did is they let the context, the action, and the visuals communicate what was going on, and also the human characters talking. Now, in that, we're following the human characters, but what they could have done is something like the Alien vs. Predator game, where hearing people talk that the Predator is stalking pushes the narrative forward as well. So, a film entirely in that style, though, with a Predator as a silent, mysterious hunter stalking a particular prey while killing anything that gets in its way, that could have been a much more effective and truer to the original spirit of the franchise. Okay? I really, really liked what they did in the AVP movies as far as this goes. How they had you following the Predators, and you kind of connected with the Predators and saw them as these badass warriors that are trying to maintain security of the aliens. And I was very disappointed in how they did this. And so basically, for me, this is just this almost isn't even a Predator movie. I mean, it's just like a generic action movie set on a planet that, really isn't that much different than any other fantasy or sci-fi, planet with humans that aren't really any different than sci-fi humans in other films and stuff. It was kind of cool that it was in the future with Weyland Yutani, but I really just, The Predator is always supposed to be this thing that when it shows up and starts killing people, people are confused and scared. That's just not part of what happened here. Confused, by the way, because they don't know what it is. But that's just, none of that showed up here, and that really, really sucks. So because of that, guys, I've got to give this one, and it's, so if you're not a Predator fan, I can see where people would say, and you come watch this movie, it's very generic and everything, I could see it being average, okay? But it completely wastes the Predator character, and so as far as staying true to the lore, and once you start to mix in kind of what they've done with the character as far as what it is, and then failing on that front, I've got to give it a below average. So that's one thumb way down, guys. But that's all I've got today. I want to thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to see more, check out the cash giveaways and all of that good stuff. God bless you all, and have a good day. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch and join the Discord where you can voice chat with me while I live stream, and you won't be recorded or anything on YouTube and Twitch, so that's pretty cool. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you like to read, you can see my after-action reports on my blog. And if you are interested, you can get some merch from my spring store. The links for everything are in the description below.